Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Weekly Comic Roundup. We've made our way through some of this week's books. Now it's time to keep on trucking. Kicking this off, we've got Amazing Spider-Man number 32. So, in Amazing Spider-Man 925, one of the interlude stories involved Kraven the Hunter sparring with Queen Goblin. And then, but it went from a fight between the two of them to, well, the two of them sleeping together. And so now we kick off the story that was kind of setting up. So, kind of continuing with Kraven and Queen Goblin. Working on their scheme. Queen Goblin's whole shtick being that she was turned into Queen Goblin thanks to an infusion of Norman Osborn's sins into her by the Beyond Corporation. She wants to be free of those sins. And so that is apparently the plan, and they have managed to somewhat transfer the sins, in essence at least, into Kraven's spear. So another thing that happened in Amazing Spider-Man 925 is that Felicia broke up with Peter. So, but she calls him, and apparently Peter has a not date with Janice's best friend, a lawyer. Peter arrives late. They talk a bit. In part, she's not happy about the fact that Randy has basically just completely, seemingly stepped away from Janice. The wedding was crashed by an assassin, an assassin named Shotgun, who shot Tombstone and actually managed to send him to the hospital. The wedding wasn't even, the vows were never even completed. But turns out that Janice's friend is Tombstone's lawyer. They argue a bit. Peter's accused of being a Punisher guy. Thinks one of those guys who thinks the Punisher is actually a hero, and Peter does point out, without stating that yes, that he's Spider-Man, that Punisher is anything but a hero. Back with Kraven and Queen Goblin. Turns out Queen Goblin is further expounding upon, in part, the original Kraven's history. Having become beaten Spider-Man and becoming Spider-Man. But a hunt that could make Kraven whole. But the original Kraven's prey was weak and pathetic, a rat, when he became Spider-Man. He took on one of Spider-Man's foes, Vermin. And so, Queen Goblin suggests that Kraven best the Spider's greatest foe, the Green Goblin. After the not date goes horrible, Peter shows up at at Oscorp, though Norman's trying to say, hey, look, you don't have to come in tonight. Even adding that, he's Norman feels like he has put something of a burden on Peter to keep an eye on him, make sure he doesn't slide back into being a goblin. And he kind of feels maybe he's even Gosworth asked too much of Peter. But Peter says that it's not just that. The more he works with Norman, the more he recognizes something familiar. The Norman Osborn that Peter first met. The one who treated Peter like a son. And Peter begins to think that that's the real Norman. And that Norman just got buried under everything else. However, the power is shut off, and the gets shut off in the building. Both of them realize that this is not a good sign, and so they suit up. But Craven is performing a ritual in Norman's armory. And Norman is convinced to basically face this alone. But and he's at least putting up a fight. He's not, oh yeah, okay, it's inevitable. No, he puts up a fight. Knocks Craven on his ass. But the plasma engine that Norman and Peter have been working on is utilized to help Peter get through the door. And Peter goes to save Norman and is stabbed with Craven's spear. Transferring Norman's sins to Peter. And the issue ends with Peter cackling, with the spider on his chest glowing. And it seems that the little pumpkin orb things that are on it, that adorn the arms of his costume, are even actually I say glowing. It seems like they're exploding, all of them, including the spider. There is also there's a single-page Gods interlude. I'm almost positive at this point that around the time that Gods releases, we'll get just all of these interludes collected into one volume with probably one $9.99 comic, the Gods #0. But that is where the issue ends. Very interesting. The tease for the next issue shows Spider-Man seemingly hunting Kraven, and once again wearing the black costume. So let's see where this goes. Moving on though to our next book, we've got Venom #24. Where we left off, Eddie Brock had defeated Bedlam and had opted to join with Bedlam. Anyways, Eddie arrives has flown into to Latveria. Apparently, Latveria International Airport's security is all Doombots. I know, it's a shock. They kind of pick up that something's off with Eddie. And he basically lets out Bedlam and then merges with Bedlam and yeah, he just wrecks house on the Doombots. The lead Doombot later is explaining to Doom his failure, and you know, as an extension of Doom, well, Doom cannot fail. Well, the Doombots under this lead, the security lead, have been scrapped for repurposing. But then he realizes that, well, he himself has failed and self-destructs. As Eddie arrives at Doomstadt. However, Doom is a gracious host, especially to a fellow monarch. Though offering a meal. But yeah, that's kind of the extent of his hospitality. The two of them fight, and of course Doom uses magic as well as technology. Though Eddie's able to get past it. There are references made to the events of the recent Venom Lethal Protector 2 miniseries, which did see Doom and Venom interact. But Eddie's goal is Doom's time platform, and the issue ends with Eddie activating it, and Doom trying to stop him, but ending up on the platform itself as it activates. Yeah, time traveling Venom and Doom. That sounds like a good thing, right? Anyway, interesting hook. I do appreciate the fact that there's mention made of the events of Lethal Protector 2. The recent Lethal Protector minis have kind of felt, I don't know, while they've been fun reads, they have felt very much just like they don't matter. And it's nice to see, well, that's not the case. Moving on, though, to our next book, we have the Fantastic Four Annual. Continuing the Contest of Chaos annual crossover. This time it's Human Torch versus Ghost Rider. So, Ben Grimm and Johnny Storm are at Mr. B's Shoes in Arizona. It's pretty much the only place that sells shoes in Ben's size. Ben hollers for Mr. B, but there's no answer. Sends Johnny to go check. Well, guy's not in the office, but Ben points out to Johnny that, hey, got a bad, Mr. B's got his heart ain't that great, so maybe he's dead. Johnny checks the bathroom and seemingly walks into hell, where Johnny Blaze is waiting for him. Only Johnny points out that it's not actually hell. He's able to touch a rock, and briefly, a brick wall is a hand-shaped out image of a brick wall is shown. But it then turns back into the fire and brimstone of, well, hell. Johnny and Johnny duke it out. Start to get the idea that maybe they're actually in Cleveland. Some demons attack them. But Blaze, both Johnnies flame on. Human Torch flies away, able to do so much faster than Ghost Rider is able to follow. Ghost Rider punches at a rock and a van appears, so he takes the van to chase Johnny. As Johnny's flying, he sees a hell train. apparently has a demonic cat as an engineer, and the demonic cat has a smaller demonic cat inside. But Blaze knocks Human Torch into the train. They end up in a fast food joint. And the scene of the fight goes back between between the Hell Train and the fast food joint. The cat demon attacks Human Torch. Ghost Rider is foiled for just, the fact of him having a massive chain that Human Torch could wrap around something heavy. Everything goes back to normal. Turns out the train they were on arrives in Chicago. Johnny Storm exits the train and ends up in the presence of Agatha Harkness, who decides that she'll count it as a win and wishes him luck in the next round. The next Contest of Chaos annual will be Moon Knight Annual number 1 next week. In the backup story, where we left off there, Spider-Man and Jessica Jones were investigating what's going on as Wolverine has disappeared after his fight with Spider-Man. And of course, now Storm's disappeared after a fight with Iron Man. And so they're asking, obviously this is a magical thing, so they need to ask someone who knows magic. So they go to talk to Clea Strange, Sorcerer Supreme of the Dark Dimension, former Sorcerer Supreme of Earth, and of course, the wife of Earth's Sorcerer Supreme, Dr. Stephen Strange. But it is stated that Clea is trying to figure out what's going on, though Jessica and Peter are both a bit impatient. The story, and therefore issue, ends with Clea teleporting the three of them to the magic. And apparently Spider-Man's not a big fan of being teleported. Honestly, the backup story is more interesting than the primary stories. That's been kind of the case with all of these. So, however, I will admit that this one was a bit more fun than the others. If nothing else, just for Human Torch kind of pointing out the ridiculousness of, various things, including, pointing out why the hell are him and Ghost Rider, why is Ghost Rider trying to fight him? But also stating, how come Ghost Rider gets to be Johnny Blaze? He's hardly even on fire. Johnny Storm should be Johnny Blaze. He's on fire. But yeah. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Storm, number 4, the penultimate issue of the miniseries, taking place in the back during the early Claremont run of Uncanny X-Men. Where we left off, the X-Men had fought Blowback, and Blowback had taken Rogue prisoner, though Rogue had also touched Blowback and discovered something about him, causing her to shout Storm's name. But Storm is tossed in a cell by Blowback. Storm is trying to figure out just what the hell is going on with her powers with some of the equipment that Travis has. But it doesn't seem to entirely be her ways of checking. It's kind of the results are inconclusive. It is, but Travis does point out that he wondered how Storm always managed to keep her mohawk up and static electricity. But Travis is moving to an island, wants Storm to come with her, or come with him, and she needs to think on it. He's got some things to take care of, but he'll be back, so give her time to well, think on it. Rogue wakes up, face Mystique. Mystique states that when she found Rogue, Destiny prophesied that it was fate that brought Destiny, Mystique, and Rogue all together. But Rogue and Mystique make various points. Mystique pointed out that that things are going to get worse between humans and mutants. Mystique also makes the point that Xavier should make an island fortress for them. Huh. That worked well. Both times. But the X-Men come to pick up Rogue. Rogue is resting, and Kitty is testing out some of Travis's Neotech using parts of the vacuum. Travis arrives, however, said he's leaving, not coming back. But he loves Storm. Asked her to let me take her away somewhere safe. And he's not sure if she'll say yes or not, but he's hoping she does. But that she does. He also understands she needs to be with her family, with the X-Men. Wolverine echoes the idea that this is Storm's decision whether or not she leaves with Travis or not. Xavier has a few doubts about Travis, but states that blowback is possibly impacting Storm's powers. One thing that's been noted with the Neotech is that it seems to basically, it's stated that the Neotech gives out a smell that was analyzed, mostly nitrogen, hydrogen, and oxygen, things we need to breathe, but also sulfuric acid and helium, elements found in deep space. At Travis's boathouse, Storm is looking through stuff, finds a welding glove, just one, but it seems like one that she found in the first issue. And there's a scent that she notes. She also finds the remains of what appears to be a bat with a camera inside of it. But Storm realizes the smell of the Neotech reminds Storm of space, of being in deep space. Almost as if it's calibrated for the wrong atmosphere. And she starts to wonder if meeting Travis was a coincidence or a setup. But Travis and Blowback meet, and it turns out that Travis is Blowback. And Mystique has been largely playing the part of Travis. Potentially speaking, even being the one who has managed to get Storm to fall for Travis. Though Travis has fallen for her, and, well, Mystique points out that one of the first rules of the Gript is to never fall for your target. Never fall for the mark. But they are scheming together. The idea apparently was to remove Storm from get Storm to leave the X-Men, and then the X-Men will be divided and leaderless, and, well, there will be no resistance to, no notable resistance to Mystique's plans. I don't think she's right about that, but that was the plan. Storm, however, also discovers wanted posters of Travis. Travis arrives at the boathouse, and they talk a bit, and Storm points out, Storm calls him on his bullshit, but he begins to turn into Blowback. Turns out that she also discovered wanted posters from space. And Blowback flies off with Storm, saying that you know she saw that he was wanted by intergalactic police. Well, then Storm will help him escape. And that is where the issue ends. Interesting. I did not see that coming with the truth of who Blowback is. Can't say I'm entirely surprised that Travis is somewhat involved with Mystique. And I did enjoy the moments between Mystique and Rogue. Their relationship is, I think, one of the more interestingly detailed relationships between among the X-Men characters. Moving on, though, to our last one for the moment, we have Dr. Aphra number 35, continuing the Dark Droids crossover. First it comes for the metal, then it comes for everything else. Aphra's been through a rough time lately. But she's still somewhat sort of working for the Tage Corporation. So on Narshada, a Rhodian has shown to buy what appears to be an old battle droid. But the battle droid becomes active and kills the dealers as well as the potential buyer before being one of the dealers with their dying moment blasts the droid. On the Inquisitor, the flagship of the Tage Corporation, Domina Tage is looking at the remains of this droid. It's stated that her parents were separatists, and they made a bid for the battle droid contract, but failed to secure it. This particular droid was Domina's very first design. Her siblings were not exactly encouraging, but Aphra's told about what's going on, and that there is a warehouse. There were two warehouses of these droids. One has been found. The other one is not. Well, Aphra's supposed to go after the one that hasn't been. And well, Aphra's also being offered hazard pay. Before Aphra leaves, her and Domina spend the night together. Though it's made quite clear that Domina's just looking for something fun. Though Aphra is still rebounding from the end of her relationship with Salastaros. And so, Aphra and Just Lucky board Aphra's ship, the Archangel 4, to go to the factory on Havel Prime. Taking a detour, though, to Galator 3. Going to a club. Lucky and Ariel U are quite serious, so he's not. He basically just opts to leave Aphra to her debauchery. Aphra goes back to the hotel with the woman she meets in the club. Wakes up and she's been robbed, and the room has been put in her name. But Aphra chases after her partner from the previous night, arriving on Havel Prime. They find the droid factory, or the warehouse. Lucky and Aphra zip line in, and find a mouse droid rolls by. Mouse droids have been shown to, throughout the crossover referral, to be excellent means of transmitting the droid virus. And it seems that Aphra's partner from the previous night and her crew have already discovered the problems of dealing with these droids. As Lucky and Aphra are surrounded by more of them. One point that was also made was that the droids are stored without their power cells, and so without power, they're able to activate and be just as deadly as if they had power cells. So, yeah, but that is where the issue ends. Overall enjoying this crossover. I think the biggest annoyance for me with it, in all honesty, is the fact that each tie-in issue is price point at $1 more than normal. Anyways, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Mastodon, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.